First of all, I want to thank the Almighty for making this possible. It's a wonderful conference. I heard about the men's conference. It was super nice that the men's conference, although maybe it should have been around 14th. You make it so early, you don't have any excuse to disappear on 14th. But we try. Yeah. So first of all, I'm Dr. Denis Miskellah. I come from KMPDU. I'm sure some of us here have heard about KMPDU. It stands for the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Dentists and Pharmacists Union. Chama cha madaktari. Yeah? I know for the longest time umetuzoea kufanya strike. Ndio? Lakini we trying to move away from that so that we do other things also that help wananchi. Because you see here, healthcare is a right. So basically, our idea is more about pushing for the health of the nation and less of our own individual needs and aspirations. So on this, I'm the deputy SG. We have the SG as the boss. It's called Dr. Davji. He had to rush to Eldoret, and I'm his deputy. Amongst doctors, we have the medical doctors, the pharmacists, wanatengeneza meno, na wale wanapeana dawa. Sawa. Yeah, so I think I'll quickly just move into this. And nitachanganya Kizungu na Kiswahili. We'll make this session as interactive as possible. In the next 30 minutes, we should be done. Sawa. Yeah, I know many times watu watasema a lot of medical terms and you end up getting lost. But this is a chance to just use the normal language that you all understand. When we umepotea unainua mkono, we clarify. Because what we are doing right now, I want to, when we leave here, we leave a team of people who are going to be able to now disseminate the information in a much clearer way. Hata with some kidogo science kidogo unaheshimika, kidogo wanakuamini zaidi, si ndio? Yeah, so we hope that. So yeah, the conference about masculinity, and I did a quick Google on what masculinity. And the other words that can be manhood, manliness, a set of attributes and behaviors and roles associated with men and boys, And one of the attributes that men are associated with leadership, we offer leadership, see? And there's a thing that men are from Mars. Mars was the god of, in Greek mythology, a god of war and masculinity. Yeah? And in this COVID war, the men have to take the leadership to ensure that we protect our families, our societies, and our country. Because we know that at the end of it all, when COVID came to this country, many times in most households as the leader, you have people will have to ask you, tunakula nini, when COVID messes up the economy and the livelihood of the family. When somebody is sick, ni wanaume tunaenda kuulizwa pesa ya hospitali ama pesa ya matanga kama mtu amekufa, si ndio? Yeah, so this disease indirectly has affected us as men more than women. I can't say that loudly because the feminists might come for us very hard, yeah? But we know the headache that as a man you have when that household is threatened. Si ndio? Many times mke akikosa kazi mnashikilia tu nyumba bado. Lakini the reverse, when a man loses his job, it becomes very tricky. And that's why as men we have to be impatient with this pandemic and do everything within our abilities to ensure that we get rid of it. Yeah? And the quickest way to eradicate this that have been proven through science is through vaccination. Yeah? As a doctor, I work in Kenyatta Hospital in Nairobi. And so we have got a chance to see patients with COVID. I've also been affected by COVID. I've lost 3 very close people to me. Yeah? Even as recent as 2 weeks ago, I buried my brother-in-law who had refused change. He was what's called anti-vaxxer. They don't argue about vaccine everywhere, back on Facebook. Yeah, on 24th he fell sick. He drove himself to the hospital and they did a CT scan on his chest. Out of the 25 section of the lungs, 18 were gone. And from there just went down and died. Left very young family. All his brothers who are following him with this anti-vaccine went and got vaccinated the same day he died. And they're alive. Last year I also lost my uncle who schooled me. He said he wanted to take AstraZeneca. He went for Johnson & Johnson. It was coming in August. He died 1 week before August. Get that? Those are true situations. I also know that my father was diabetic and hypertensive, took his vaccines. And when he fell sick, he recovered. So there are also positive stories around those who take the vaccine. It surely does save lives. Okay. So I think that is a quick introduction on what I want us to discuss today. And a quick one on the overview on this session is what's a vaccine? Yeah? You know, when we talk about vaccination, people think there's a new thing. Yenye mzungu amekuja nayo maybe kuumiza Afrika. You know, there are so many stories. Eh? And I'm so happy that we got a chance to talk to the clergy and men of the church. And that's why as KMPDU we partnered with Christian Aid. Because the biggest source of information hata yenye hapa Afrika pa Kenya is coming from America. Yeah? And it's very, very popular around the Midwest, the evangelical states. Yeah? Most of those websites, most of the people who are anti-vaxxers come in the name of the Lord. They come lying about it. But you tell them that the Bible says that all wisdom comes from God. Even the knowledge that they were able to get this vaccine in a short period, I'm sure that knowledge came from God. Simple. When the clergy pray for God, save us from the vaccine, give us a miracle, the miracle is the knowledge that for the first time ever in the world, a vaccine was developed in under 2 years. And luckily enough, we have not had any adverse reactions from any of that quick development. So we'll know what a vaccine is, the importance, who should get it, what are the types available locally, how safe are they, and we'll go to the big question that which is the best vaccine to use. So the latest data right now is as of yesterday. You can see that Kenya, luckily enough, thanks to the president, I've got to thank President Uhuru because as a union, we were worried that with the cost of the vaccines, we were never going to afford. Our approximation is 32 billion to get 70% of the adult population vaccinated. We have been able to get 24 million vaccines, almost 25 million vaccines, through his diplomacy and just walking around to get us those vaccines from donors and friends, and some are bought. And out of this, you can see that almost 24% of the adult population is vaccinated. But here the scientist is saying that lazima tufike 70% to get a comfortable cover, to eradicate, to have a chance at eradicating this vaccine. Today, why we are here is that we want to push this number from 24 to 70. In a country where over 80% are Christians, I will not be in a better place than in a place where men, and hopefully will tell the women why we should get vaccination. Because I'm sure every lady that here has a group of, a sphere of influence, 1, 2, or even thousands, whom they can reach out in their daily sermons. And my challenge is that after this, please, when you go back, make sure that every day, any chance you get, sell the story of the vaccine. Because I know for a fact that even you, as church leaders, you've seen the effect of not having people not going to church. You know, as Christians, our faiths have been shaken. I worship at All Saints Cathedral, and we've not gone to church for the longest. And when we began going to church, they're just taking some few people. The rest, we are being told to sit outside and watch, listen to the sound from the speakers. You get that? So we have to push this harder. Out of the people who received it, government told the guys to go for the booster, the third dose. If you have received it, the 2 doses in the last 6 months, create time and go for the booster dose. It now helps. The intention was to get everybody covered first, but serikali kaona wenye wamekubali wapewe ya tatu, rather than keep on insisting on the people who have refused, but there's still enough doses for everybody. Sawa. And so, I had to ask, and let's be honest, I'm glad that we're in a place where men of faith are. Nani hapa amepata chanjo ya kwanza? The first. Ya pili. Ya tatu. Yeah. So now work backwards. So the third one is 6 months after the second one. If you get a chance, go get it. I got mine like 3 weeks ago. We had a function with Christian Aid again, and when we went to the function, I got mine, and it was good. So you go get it. But more importantly is that for those who have not received the first or the second, what is stopping you? And that is what I want to hear. Is there that roving mic? Yes. And volunteer. Honest volunteer. Yeah? The other day, and not just Africans, the other day there's an Australian world champion tennis. No, he's a Russian, I think, I'm not sure. They went to the Australian Open to play tennis. The world champion went to defend his title and he refused the vaccine. And Australia told him, you can't get in without the vaccine. And he'd rather not defend his title and he had to go back home. You get that? Mm-hmm. So I know for a fact that those views are there as strong. I also know that there are also people who, like, I think I was appointed by a friend who told me that, hey, can I get the certificate without getting the vaccine? And that's how our engagement that evening changed. I told her, what do you think of me? As a doctor, having suffered personal loss for the vaccine, to give you a fake certificate, and you saw what happened with the Dubai cancelling our flights from Nairobi. People getting negative results. Yet they turn positive because they are being faked. And no COVID, just like God, you can't lie to God. Same with COVID vaccine and COVID disease. Hata ukikataa itakupata bado. The stories that are washed in the media as well in the West of people who refused the vaccines, and in their deathbed walisema, I wish I knew I would have gotten the vaccine. Very many of them say that. Yeah? But you know, sadly, with the death, when you are dead, it's those who stay behind who feel the pain. Same deal. My brother-in-law is now gone. He's a little girl, and the poor wife who is now pained. And as leaders in the families, as men here, just think, imagine if you are to be taken out of this situation. Up now, 5,600 people have died from COVID in this country. They might look low compared to almost 1 million plus in America. But those are empty tables at home. You know, imagine HIV can drag you to kufe. Cancer will drag you. As in, unapanga mambo yako kidogo ndio kufe. COVID is number 1 and 2 weeks ago. If COVID didn't occur, families will have their fathers, their mothers, their siblings alive today. They will be still alive today. And that's why COVID is a painful thing, that nobody deserves to die from it. So ask yourself that if COVID will take you today, utaacha watu wako namna gani? You know when people depend on you. I'm sure you guys know. So based on that, we'll continue this discussions. Apart from hii mambo ya kuchafua damu ya Yesu. What other thing, yeah? But now that I talk about this damu ya Yesu kuchafuliwa, we have been receiving vaccines faithfully from when a child is born. Now, ukizaliwa mtoto is very tiny, fragile, and the love we shower them with, we still give them vaccines. So I tell me today that with all my strength, I should be scared of vaccines more than that tiny little baby. Because we receive kina polio marangapi all the way 9 months, bado unapata chanjo. Ile ufike bila kusafiri unachukua bado. It's the same thing. Locally, there are 4 types of vaccines. We have AstraZeneca, we have Johnson & Johnson, we have Moderna, we have Pfizer, and they really dropped one. They also forgot the 5th one, Sinopharm. the one from China. Sindio? And I have to explain that so that I can then come and dismiss these myths and misconceptions, which mtaniambia zile mmesikia. So viruses generally are not treatable medically, and that's why I struggle with HIV. Because virusi, the treatment of any bacteria, any germ in the body, is that when it is multiplying, the medicine cuts off the multiplication and renders it useless. But a virus is a very, very slow, almost dormant thing in the body. So huwezi kustop multiplication because it rarely multiplies. So it's not very, very active mitotically. The division is not very slow. So dawa itaisha kabla ifanye kazi. That's why the only secret to dealing with viruses, be it smallpox, chickenpox, be it HIV, be it corona, the answer is towards the vaccination. So scientists wakakaa mahali wakasema, how do you go about this? Money was pumped to save humanity. It was not pumped to kill humanity. And the first type of virus we have is the whole virus, carrier virus. When you take a virus and an adenovirus from the chimpanzee, then you take a protein from the coronavirus, you attach it to the adenovirus from the chimpanzee. Then you introduce it to the body. And what does the body do? The body interprets it as an infection and starts fighting it. Anytime you have an infection kwa mwili, your body produces white blood cells to clear that infection. Anytime. And then you know, in hii virusi ama germ inalemea hizo white blood cells, naona ila kufa ama zidiwe. Sawa. So what do we do in the case of this virus that we don't know how the body will react to? We start priming the soldiers in your body by exercising them. You know, like we have the British Army in the UK, or our army here locally. What do? They do the mock training. They have those guns that shoot blanks. They train. You can't just pluck somebody from nowhere and give them a gun and tell them to fight an enemy. See? So you have to train your soldiers every day to prepare for this war. That is what vaccination does. It gives you like a weak form of this thing, a fake one. Ndio mwili ianze kufanya nayo practice. So that day when you finally need it to help you, you get trained soldiers in your blood to fight it. So refusing to get the vaccine is like plucking young men from the streets, giving them guns and telling them to fight an enemy. You are telling me, I exactly. Examples of those viruses which are attached ni kama hii AstraZeneca and Johnson and Sinopharm. Get that? Uzuri yao kwamba haihitaji sana baridi sana to move from one point to another. Unlike the other type, which is called the mRNA, where we go to the laboratory, we create a protein in the lab. Inakaa kama protein ya coronavirus. We take that protein, introduce it to the body, and the body starts fighting it. You do your Pfizer na Moderna. Ubaya wake ni, you need extremely cold temperatures to transport it, which sometimes is very tricky in most countries. Like in Congo, they had to give us some of their vaccines and laugh and dismiss them. But until you get how convicted people can be about them, then we have to think strongly on why we have to dispel them. The Bible says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Sindio? Evil too, lack of knowledge. So that if you have the knowledge, you can avoid perishing. And that's why King Solomon asked for wisdom. It surely comes from the Lord. Yeah? So let's get the wisdom from the Lord through me. I'm sure He's done gave you the abilities to talk about that. So yeah, let's talk about sexual impotence and infertility. Perfect topic to talk about in a masculinity conference, kwa mkutano ya wanaume ya wazee. We know in Kenyatta, one of the things that I do, mimi daktari ya gynecology and obstetrics. So I deal with the women and men on issues of fertilities na uzazi. And if there's one thing that really humbles a man, is anything to do with sexuality, especially as Africans. Sindio? Because we believe that if you're a man, then you have to be, your vitality, your virility must be up there. Sindio? So that when somebody threatens that sexuality, hapo umeisha, sindio? Yes, amekumaliza kabisa. So when somebody comes with theory about the importance, the infertility, people get worried. But it's a lie. I'm sure that most of us who have been vaccinated here can attest that everything just works well. That's the truth of the matter. The vaccine has nothing to do with how the sperms are formed. It won't affect your fertility. The vaccines have nothing to do with your erection, because it has nothing to do with because an erection is just blood being pumped to the muscles of the penis. There's no way how that vaccine is going to come into that. And if mzungu angekuwa kuwa wa Afrika, I don't think they need to spend so many billions to kill us. So washikilia tu usaidizi tu na tunakufa na njaa na tunakufa. Is that just that easy? Why should they go through this whole complicated issue? Na hii chanjo bado inapeana mpaka huko kwao. Yeah? So about the myth about that you live short, you live, doesn't matter, my friends. Yeah? Kila mtu akona siku zake zilipangwa. You can only die by not doing the right thing to prevent that death. I don't think that getting vaccinated is one of the ways that you can use to shorten your life. Instead, you will die much earlier if you don't get the vaccine and you get the virus. Yes, there are the side effects, like I had someone talk about a clot. Just like everything, hata ugali ukikula mingi, sukari itapanda juu sana. Si ndio? Hata maji ukikunywa. In this life, everything. I'm sure you guys preach that too much of anything is dangerous. You get that? So in this life, there's nothing that is perfect. Not even that Panadol you take for a headache. So there are very few chances where clotting, damu kuganda. It has been shown in the AstraZeneca vaccine. But sometimes those are very small things. If you talk about one person, you're in a million chances, honestly. Yeah? And anytime you get any adverse reaction, you're told, kindly report about that reaction. So, that's 3. The other issue about devil worshipping and the chip. I'm sure that there's so many other things that we import, that we consume, that are easier to put in a human being than a vaccine. Chakula ngapi tunakula? Si ndio? There are so many things that you can use to put a chip in our bodies. So that's all stories. That just are liquid. Because if it's about technology and people being chipped and they will worship it, you see people don't come fuko. Those chips will be planted. It's anything you walk with it everywhere. Yeah, and they can just track it to you down everywhere. Listen to you and everything. Si lazima wakudunge, wakubembeleze kuja udunge ndio tukutrack. Just a phone. So there's nothing like that. There's nothing like being a mark of the devil, especially as people of faith. We know that all we need to do is trust in the Lord. Hizi vitu zingine mingi is just the disinformation that the devil is using now to kill you now. Steal you, kill and destroy you. Yeah? With the disinformation. That's why ukipata mtu anakona hiyo uongo mwambie shetani ashindwe. Si ndio? About the economic, ni sawa. It's true. I have a saying that muuzaji nyama hauzi nyama kwa sababu anakupenda, hapo biashara, si ndio? So it's true that when they go to the lab and do the research, it has to be sold. Just the same company that makes the Panadol for money, makes the vaccine for money also. Si ndio? Hakuna mtu anafanya kazi yenye hataki pesa. Hata serikali kama mnasema ati anasema ati hii ugonjwa iko mingi ndio wapewe, ni sawa bado. But pia we know people have died from it. Si ndio? I'm sure almost everyone here umeenda kwa matanga umezika mtu akona COVID. Ukweli uongo? I'm sure you guys know about this. So I can never dispel mambo ya pesa. Walifanya kazi ya research, they used equipment and knowledge, they paid their staff. Sawa wauze. Bora tumeishi. Na luckily enough for Kenya, tunapewa free. So if they really wanted to make money, hii 24 million tuliona imekuja Kenya, ungeamua tu 100, they would have made a lot of money. But tunapewa for free. So kama ilikuwa ni pesa wanapeana, wanataka. Na hiyo peanwa free. Then kuna hii myth ingine nimesikia, population control. Still there are other ways. Kama mzungu anataka kufanya population control, kuna family planning wametupatia mingi na amegombea waziwazi kwamba hii ni ya family planning. Hawakufichi, sio nakwambia. There's nothing, no secret in planning your family or anything. Na kama ilikuwa ni ya kuua watu, pia we would have seen watu wakitupewa chanjo, hii room ilikuwa empty. We would have all been dead. This is my second year when I received from the first vaccine, because ndio tupewa ya kwanza ikikuja Kenya. Bado tunaishi na tunaomba tuzidi kuishi. So hakuna mambo ya kifo. And finally, there's the issue which we talked about the abortions and all that. As a gynecologist and obstetrician, I deal with pregnant women every day. And amongst the people who have really died from this virus, it is pregnant women. Hivi virusi vimeathiri akina mama wajawazito sana. Sababu gani? Mama mjamzito, immunity yake iko chini. Mama mjamzito ako at very high risk of develop clots. Na hii virus, the COVID virus itself, causes serious clotting. So that mtu akikataa ati mama mjamzito asipewe chanjo, ataafya mimba. Wait until you see what COVID can do. I've seen so many doctors, so many nurses, women dying in ICU because of this virus. If you get a chance to meet any pregnant woman, tell them to go get vaccinated. This thing saves lives of pregnant women. Please, please, please. If you have to forget anything from this, just remember that this vaccine is safe in pregnancy. Any time of the pregnancy, unaambia wanaenda, wanapewa hii chanjo. So, I'm almost finished. So, I talked about the facts. Who should get this vaccine? I've talked about a pregnant woman. Initially, vile chanjo ilikuwa kidogo, they were saying wale wako high risk frontline workers na wale wazee na watu wako na comorbid, sukari, pressure and all that. But right now, thanks to our government, we have the vaccine available from people from the age of 15. When you look at the data that I gave you guys, 15 to 18 tushapata almost 350,000 wamepata hiyo chanjo. Watoto wa shule. There are countries that are even going as low as 5 and 6. So anybody is allowed for our country now from age 15 to get the vaccine, unless your doctor advises you otherwise, because maybe you have an active infection going on of COVID. So watu waende kupata chanjo. Then the other thing that I want to talk about is the safety. I've talked about that. Yeah, symptoms of COVID. Yeah, everybody here, I'm sure, has heard about this: the fever, the cough, uchovu, kushindwa kupumua, muscle aches, chest pains, runny nose, sore throat. And that's why COVID is very difficult to deal with. Because whatever I've written here is what you feel when you have malaria, ukiwa na mapafu, pneumonia, anything. Anytime you are sick, this is how your problem, your body reacts. So you can never know that you have COVID. Especially in a country of ours where the data on testing is at, I don't have it, full vaccination, I don't have the total, no, I don't have it here. But the total tests done is around 3 million. That's a very, very low number. We are having very poor testing. Those who have tried testing, unangoja hata wiki moja. Unangoja hata wiki moja ndio majibu yatoke, si ndio? So we are doing very poor testing. So you can even know. Probably at least too late that you had the virus. And that's why it's important to get the vaccine. And we all know about the protocol for prevention. Somebody talked about them here. Social distancing, wearing masks, and washing. Hiyo nyinyi mnaelewa vizuri. Kwa makanisa mmeweka hizo hand washing points, si ndio? Yes, let's continue. Because ukishapata hiyo chanjo, lazima ujikinge bado. Sawa? Because they also reported cases of even those who got the vaccine have died. Because different bodies react differently. So you have to protect yourself still. So in conclusion, COVID is a disease that came to this world, and apart from just the physical harm it has caused, it has broken our hearts. It has broken societies, broken people mentally. Just yesterday I read an article about a woman in Italy who died 2 years ago and was discovered juzi kwake. Because people are isolated. Hii isolation ya Kenya hii mnaona hii maneno hii kufungwa, you still have your family running around you. In the West, when it was done properly, ulikuwa unakaa kwa nyumba ya shopping Wendy, they bring for you shopping, unaorder online unaletewa. Kama uko na grandchildren, unaona through the window, you just wave at them through the kio. That's how strict they were with that. So families were broken. If sio corona, some of us walikuwa na babangu, anko alikufa, my in-laws and all that. Unaelewa? And I'm sure all of you can say that if sio corona, your loved ones, your church members would have been there. It is our own individual initiative and community initiative to ensure that we kick the disease away, especially as men who lead the societies, who lead our families, our churches, and our country. May God bless us and may He help us kick away COVID from our midst. Thank you so much. I'll take just 2 questions because I've spent so much time and I want you guys to go eat. Just 2 questions. The roving microphone. Roving microphone. Just a quick question because a good teacher must give people time to ask questions. Otherwise, mtatoka na maneno kwa roho yenu na mshinde kuwa ambassadors of vaccine.
Amen. I'm Reverend Sola from Africa Nigeria Church. First question. You have talked about one vaccine causing some, though not so vibrant, clot. If there's clot, will it not be associated with the reproduction? 2, what are the doctors doing to prevent selling of certificates to non-vaccinated members? Thank you.
Sorry, I've spoken a lot without saying my name. I'm Edward Nzinga from Africa Brotherhood Church. Now, I wanted to ask this. Is there a relationship between the vaccine and the drinking a lot of water and the taking Panadol? And the reason I'm asking is one of your own vaccinated our church clergy and told them, go and take a lot of water and Panadols. And it was like, for me, what? Thank you.
Pandey, we take the 4, then answer in one soap, then we close.
My question is, if now I've taken or I've been jabbed with AstraZeneca, if it will come the second dose and there is no dose of that kind, will I be able to receive a different dose or either any other dose?
what I want to ask is, what is our scientists and our government doing for producing or